Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Eric Voss, and the New Mutants movie is happening! The young adult horror take on the X-Men comics from director Josh Boone was originally going to come out 2 years ago, with its first teaser trailer the subject of New Rockstars' first ever panel show in October 2017. Remember that? Back when the otter shirt still fit? After several delays and reshoots as these X-Men properties of Fox were acquired by Disney and Marvel Studios, Marvel ultimately decided that a cut of the film that was closest to Boone's original vision, a Stephen King-inspired psychological horror without tie-ins to the older X-Men films, would be okay to release. Really, so they don't lose all of that money they already spent on it. Does this make the New Mutants part of the MCU officially? Well, we're not sure. The movie was not produced by Marvel Studios, but there are ways that Kevin Feige and his team could retroactively fit this film into his Marvel Phase 4 plan. I'll get to those as I break down this New Mutants trailer shot by shot for all the details and Easter eggs that you might have missed, and spoiler warning in case any of my predictions are too right and they ruin your life. Let's get started.
What's the last thing you remember, Danny?
The opening clip introduces us to Danielle Moonstar, aka the mutant Mirage in the Marvel Comics, played here by Blue Hunt. Mirage is a Native American mutant with the ability to create illusions based on one's fears and desires. In this case, the fear or desire is for snowflakes to turn into blood. One of Danny's other manifestations in the comics is that of the Demon Bear, an entity that feeds on negative emotions and killed Danny's parents, and will be an antagonist in this film. The Demon Bear begins as something Danny thinks is her own projection, but actually has an external origin. Notice how in this trailer footage, Danny can be seen wearing a bear necklace, maybe signaling the Demon Bear's possession over her. But also, the Demon Bear could be possessing other characters in this movie. But before I continue, thank you to Raid for sponsoring this episode. Raid is an epic dark fantasy game done right. A hero collection turn-based game with over 400 champions for you to collect and personally customize, and the best part, it's free to play. Just check out these different champions that you can collect and battle with. You got a Mr. Minotaur with very practical saw swords, because why have one when you can have two? One appears to have a stag head. Look, he's got steam coming out from his undercarriage. Keep it clean. See, I often pick my champions purely based on how tough they look to complement my complete lack of tough lookingness. You can also go to the portal to open shards you have earned. Look at these shards, I've earned them. You could battle against other players in the arena, or go on an epic campaign to increase the experience of your new characters and enjoy a fully voiced story. Right now, gamers can claim free champions and more with Amazon Prime. Just log into Raid Shadow Legends and sign up before January 12th to claim 2 million silver and 700 energy. Future drops run through April and include the champions Whisper and Vala, along with free shards, XP boosts, legendary artifacts, potions, and everything else you need to take on rival summoners. Claim your loot today for Amazon Prime members only. Just install Raid from my links below and follow the instructions inside the game. And now you can play Raid both on mobile and on your desktop. The game is cross-device, so you can play with the same user and switch between devices whenever you want and however you want it. The graphics are amazing in the PC version of the game, and the game is super fast. So what are you waiting for? Go down to the video description, click on the special links, and you will get 50,000 silver with a free epic champion as part of the new player program to start your journey. Good luck, and I'll see you there. But let's get back to the trailer. Creepy faces push in through the walls at Danny. Now this is a nod to Wes Craven's famous shot in The Nightmare on Elm Street. Boone even used the same practical approach of a sheet of spandex to push people's faces through. This movie's plot was partly inspired by the third Nightmare on Elm Street movie, Dream Warriors, in which Freddy Krueger's young victims, including Patricia Arquette, are trapped in a mental hospital. Craven's famous stretch wall represented Freddy's attempt to push through that dream barrier into the kid's reality, the same way the Demon Bear is pushing through the barrier between these mutants' nightmares and their awoken lives. Woke lives? I don't know their politics. Let's move on.
He said we had to run. The reason you survived is because you're a very uncommon girl.
Okay, here we see the flashback of the moment Danny loses her father as they flee from flaming wreckage that crashes behind them. Perhaps this is the attack by the Demon Bear, and she wakes up handcuffed in a bed in this mental hospital, observed by Dr. Cecilia Reyes, played by Alice Braga. Cecilia Reyes is an X-Men character, a good guy. She can project a psychic shield around herself, but here she seems to be a darkly motivated hospital administrator similar to Nurse Ratched from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This whole hospital has a shield barrier that traps the patients inside. Maybe that barrier is generated by Reyes. It's interesting how Danny here says, "He said we had to run." She could be referring to her father, or she could be describing the voice of the demon bear, an entity who wants her to run from it because it feasts on her fear. Moving on.
You're not alone. Not anymore. Do you know what mutants are? Would anyone like to share their first time? Rain?
I was 13. I thought it was a dream. I just lost control.
Okay, here we see the hospital itself with the faded name Milbury Hospital. Milbury could be a nod to Nathan Milbury, an alternate name of Nathaniel Essex, aka Mr. Sinister from the X-Men comics. He was the genetic engineering antagonist mutant who did seem like he was being set up as the big bad of the X-Men films before this whole shakeup happened. Originally, Mr. Sinister was going to be revealed in this movie's post-credit scene played by John Hamm, as a connection to that Essex shout-out in the post-credit scene for X-Men Apocalypse. Now, that cameo was scrapped during reshoots, and the character was supposedly replaced by Antonio Banderas as a different, unconfirmed role, but still, this hospital retains the Milbury name, a skeleton of the broader Fox X-Men universe that this movie was originally going to expand into. In real life, this location is the Medfield State Hospital in Massachusetts, the same location used for the asylum in Shutter Island, which is another psychological horror film with patients trapped in a surreal nightmare. Reyes introduces us to the other mutants, starting with Rain Sinclair, aka Wolfsbane, played by Maisie Williams from Game of Thrones. She has the power to shapeshift into a wolf. Girl's got a type. Rain has an M on her neck, perhaps as a kind of self-branding for mutant. And I'm guessing that the new direction for all future X-Men films will be for mutant to be the go-to term instead of X-Men. Now, Rain as a character is very religious. She has difficulty reconciling her werewolf supernatural abilities with her spirituality. Josh Boone noted that he was raised by very religious parents, evangelical Southern Baptists, who took literal things like the rapture, the devil, demons, leading to his affinity for the demon bear. And Rain's inner conflict may serve as a kind of analog for the director himself. Moving on.
Sam?
I started panicking. People got hurt.
Roberto?
My girlfriend had burned her.
Okay, next we meet the mutant Sam Guthrie, aka Cannonball, played by Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things. He has the power to project himself through the air with invulnerability, and we get a sense of that power with a shot of his skin glowing and spasming. Notice how his arm is broken, perhaps due to him testing his powers but continuing to smash through something after he was powered down. Next, there's Roberto DaCosta, aka Sunspot, played here by Henry Saga, who has the ability to keep his collar popped long after everyone realized how douchey it is. Bobby DaCosta is a Brazilian mutant with the ability to manipulate solar energy, similar to the Human Torch, but not the same thing. A previous version of Sunspot actually showed up in X-Men Days of Future Past, and some thought that they saw the name Roberto DaCosta on the memorial wall in Avengers Endgame, but as someone who went through that damn scene frame by frame a dozen times until I started seeing demon bears everywhere, I never found it. Bobby hints at a pretty horrific backstory that involves him accidentally burning his girlfriend, maybe by firing up during sex in a pool, or maybe by causing the pool water to super boil with her in it. Let that be a warning, kids. Having unprotected sex in a pool is just as dangerous as having sex with a fiery mutant. Yeah, that's a more you know. On to the next clip.
Ileana?
I killed 18 men, one by one. This isn't a hospital, it's a cage.
Okay, the final new mutant we meet is Illyana Rasputin, aka Magic, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. She is the sister of Colossus, and she has a number of abilities, including the power of teleportation and sorcery through the limbo dimension, and manifestation of eldritch armor across her body, and the use of a psychic blade called the Soul Sword, which gets stronger with each use. And she brags here about killing 18 men with shots of men's bodies collecting snow. Now, it could just be me, but this reminds me of the infamous Dyatlov Pass mystery, in which 9 Russian hikers died in the northern Ural Mountains in 1959 due to unexplained circumstances. Now, I'm not saying this movie's gonna say magic murdered the Dyatlov Pass hikers, just that one of the many mysterious deaths in Russian folklore could be tied to this mutant. When we hear the music of this trailer, Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, famously used as a protest by rebellious youth against a strict authoritarian schooling. The lyric, "We don't need no thought control," is especially relevant here with the way the demon bear is attempting to hijack all of their perceptions of reality. As Aliana confesses this, you can see that she's clearly in a different room in this shot with sensors on her fingers, perhaps under police interrogation. Danny discovers the barrier on the hospital grounds, keeping them trapped as if in a cage. The barrier design is similar to the look of the invisible barrier in the movie Cabin in the Woods, in which 5 young people were similarly locked in a horror experiment. Now, if we assume that the demon bear is the big bad to all of this, perhaps he is possessing Reyes and using her shield projection abilities to trap all of these mutants in a fake hospital setting. Because notice that we don't really see anyone else working at this hospital other than Reyes. The Demon Bear could be attempting to trick these kids into thinking they're getting better, but this is all an illusion created by the Demon Bear to keep these mutants in a perpetual state of fear as a kind of farm that this bear can continually feast on. This is why farmers hate bears. Moving on.
It's important we find out your power so we can help you get better.
I saw something I don't think she wanted me to see.
Okay, here Reyes plays Big Brother, watching the security screens, but then she straps down Danny on a gurney with a gas mask over her face, perhaps inducing her with hallucinogens to trigger her fears. And then there's a very creepy shot of these bald, tattooed figures wearing masks, smothering someone. Notice how their fingers are all unnaturally long. Now, the teaser from 2 years ago, these masks are basic happy faces, but if you freeze the shot as he removed it, you can see what looks like a really freaky, distorted face under there. Perhaps we could be seeing a manifestation of magic sphere, like men with Russian-style prison tattoos on their bodies who stalk and smother me. Her. No, moving on.
We're here to get better.
Here, Illyana, Sam, and Rain explore the haunted house environment of this hospital, where one of the doors peels away into nothingness as evil laughter chuckles out at them. And then one of the bald figures drops behind them. Again, nope, we're moving on.
This place takes your greatest fear and makes you live through it until it kills you.
Who's there?
Okay, here we see Danny running alone in the snowy woods. Perhaps this is part of the scene where the Demon Bear took her father. And then Sam nervously creeps through a coal mine. Maybe the Demon Bear is forcing him to relive a traumatic moment, like maybe he was in a coal mine when he first used his cannonball powers and caused it to collapse and crush all these other miners. Rain grieves in a cemetery with numbered graves. Perhaps the numbers refer to past young mutants who died after being completely consumed by the Demon Bear. And then we see Rain in her church's confessional booth, the top of which gets bitten off by the Demon Bear, and you can see its teeth and glowing red eyes. Yikes! On to the next clip.
We can get out of this together.
In this section, there's a clip of Sunspot in his fiery glory. It looks as he's in that church location we saw Rain, so maybe he's rescuing her from the Demon Bear, punching through the pews that are thrown at him. And the coolest looking shot of this trailer for me is the effects on Illyana's arm as the armor assembles into her clutching the Soul Sword. As much as I loved Colossus in the Deadpool movies, we never got to see him transform from his human form into his metallic form. He was always just his metal form. So I don't think this magic is meant to be the exact sister of that same Colossus from the Deadpool movies, but rather both Deadpool and the New Mutants inhabit separate Marvel sub-universes. And perhaps this idea of sub-universes will explain how Marvel Studios intends to connect New Mutants to the MCU, because we just learned that Marvel Studios decided to move WandaVision's release on Disney Plus earlier to this year. We also know that WandaVision will explore the character of Wanda Maximoff, a mutant by the way, and her sorcery powers as a witch, and that all of this will directly set up the events of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a horror-inspired story. So what if the New Mutants ends with a post-credit scene in which we learn that these young mutants exist in a separate reality perceived by MCU Wanda Maximoff, a hypothetical nightmare as she binges her way through the multiverse of madness. This way, the MCU could retroactively justify all of the Fox X-Men events as just alternate histories within the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse, of which Earth 199999, the one of the MCU, is just one of infinite universes. Honestly, they could kind of suck in every movie universe in this way. Wrap your head around this possibility as we move on to the final clip. Here, Illyana drops from a portal, and this all appears to be outside that church. A huge hole is ripped in its facade, suggesting this is all part of that same church battle with the Demon Bear. We get our clearest ever look at that Demon Bear. I have said Demon Bear like 50 times in this video, as it roars, and then one final shot of the battle with Illyana chasing this entity, which is now abstract and smoky. The Demon Bear does appear as a smoky cloud in the comics. Maybe this is an adaptation of that. And then on the other side of the entity is Sam. You can see the cast, but also, interestingly, some other figure. flapping wings as it blasts the entity with a blue energy beam. Is this another mutant? Is it like a positive manifestation by Mirage to help fight the Demon Bear? Let me know what you think this is in the comments below and how you think Marvel Studios might try to connect the New Mutants to the MCU. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EAVoss and subscribe to New Rockstars for breakdowns of everything you love. Thanks for joining me. Bye.